Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for some mock drafts. All right, what's going on, everybody? There we go, so I don't hate myself. All right. So, obviously, the draft is tomorrow night. I cannot be any more excited. Just in general, for something football related. You know, I know you got the USFL, you got sports, other sports such as baseball, but nothing gets me more hyped than the NFL draft. I am excited, especially being a Chiefs fan. We got 12 picks. We could do a lot of damage this draft, but I appreciate everybody in here. I love all football fans, so may have some friendly banter. It's definitely some friendly banter. I'm all for that. So we're gonna go ahead and start it off. Let's start it off. We're gonna do 2 rounds. We'll do 1 full round. We'll do one full round for now, and maybe I'll do just Chiefs related stuff later, and then maybe we do a second round later as well. We'll see how it goes. See how annoyed I get. So, let's start her off. Actually, you know what? Let me go back here and make sure I got everything right here. I want to do all. That's what I wanted to do. Okay. So, now we're going to use all the rumors that have been swirling around the NFL verse. We're gonna try to predict the right situations for the players and the prospects and the organizations. See what kind of crazy things we can come up with. So now we can get into it. Now with the Jaguars starting off, there was a lot of talk with the number 1 overall pick. They're still not sure where they're going to go. I'm sure they know who they're going to pick, but there have been a lot of rumors swirling around saying that Trayvon Walker could be the pick at 1. Now, he gives you the highest upside, right? With the speed, the power. Didn't have much production in Georgia. I think that was due to all the talent around him. You know, you had Wyatt, Davis, Dean, Walker, Tyndall. I mean, go on with that defense. They had a lot of superstars on that defense. So, obviously, they have Aiden Hutchinson that they could pick from. Probably the highest floor guy. You know what you're going to be getting with him. So them being the number one overall pick again for the second year in a row, they have to hit on these picks. Even if Aiden is just going to turn out to be a good player, that's better than risking it for a higher upside player for Trayvon Walker, because I know you guys drafted K'Lavon Chaisson a few years back. Tyson Alu, probably 8-9 years back. That was definitely a reach for you guys at that time, but he did well with Josh Allen, drafting Josh Allen. He drafted Miles Jack in the second round a few years back. Now, you guys screwed the pooch on C.J. Henderson, but you guys gave up and kind of just went your separate ways. But I do think you guys are going to go with the safest floor player. I just think that's probably the safest for you guys. You're probably going to get an 8 to 10 sack guy rather than risking it all on Trayvon and hopes him to become the next Aldon Smith that Trent Baalke drafted years ago in San Francisco. It could be that's going to cost some people with their jobs in a few years if they're not right with that pick. So I think he goes safest pick in Aiden Hutchinson at 1. Now at 2 with the Detroit Lions. There's a lot of things that could happen here. They can go quarterback in Malik Willis. Will they? I don't think they will at 2 because it is such a high reach for a player like that. Now, you guys got some good picks in the draft. You guys can, fill some gaps there. But I think if you're number 2, you're trying to get this, the best player you can get. You don't want to have to risk on reaching for a quarterback that's not going to pan out 2 years later. You still have Goff. Goff's not the greatest quarterback, but you can live with him for one more year and then try to go after a quarterback next year where there's more talent in the pool with C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young and whoever may show up the next year. Now, you could go an edge rusher with Kayvon Thibodeaux. That's probably your best bet. Let me just pull up the depth chart here. I know you guys drafted Akeem McNeil last year. You guys have Charles Harris. You got the Okwara brothers and Michael Brockers. Nobody that's really going to scare an offense. So, and I know that even though, Jermaine Johnson has been falling down draft boards, he's starting to creep back up. And there are rumors saying that he could go higher than Thibodeaux because some organizations believe that he is probably going to be the best pass rusher out of the bunch. Now, you could say that with Thibodeaux as well, even Hutchinson. I guess it's just all of who you talk to. So I do think that they're gonna take an edge rusher. I do. It's between Thibodeaux, Trayvon Walker, and Jermaine Johnson. Now, I don't think Jermaine Johnson goes at 2, so I'm going to go with Kayvon Thibodeaux because you guys got to start affecting the passer, breaking that rhythm up for the opponents. So I'm going to select Kayvon Thibodeaux in hopes you're going to get a future star in the making. Number 3, the Houston Texans. I know a lot of people are throwing Derek Stingley here now at 3. There's some articles coming out saying that they like Stingley more than Ahmad Gardner. And they could also be looking at Akeem Ekwonu. Probably the higher upside tackle overall. I would choose Evan Neal, but that's just me. I do think, obviously, they need every position. Let me go to their depth chart here. Because I know you and the Falcons, you guys can go any direction this year. Yeah, you guys really don't have nobody to scare in offense. You got Okoronkwo, Roy Lopez, Malik Collins, Jonathan Greenard. You can use a linebacker as well. Kevin Pierre-Louis ain't getting any younger. Christian Kirksey, not what he used to be. Could definitely use corners. You could use, like I said, you could use every position. But I think Lovie Smith, being the defensive-minded head coach that he is, I think you go defensive line here. I do. To help replace the loss of J.J. Watt, Whitney Merciless, probably your 2 franchise best pass rushers. So I'm going to go Trayvon Walker at 3. You got the most athletic edge rusher in the draft in hopes that pans out for you. Can give you solid sack numbers year in and year out. Can even cover. Nobody moves like Walker in the draft. I bet he's 270, and he's a freak of nature. I think that's just going to help you guys. He can do a lot. He can drop when he needs to. He can rush on the third down. I think you guys will get a good player in that. Now, that takes 3 edges off the board. Gone. I don't remember a draft since I've been watching football for, I want to say, 23 years. I don't think I've ever seen 3 edges off the board in back-to-back fashion. But it's the new age. Gotta affect the passer since it is a passing league. So the Jets are on the clock here. This should be fun. They got a lot of nice picks this year. Now I might do something later, but we're gonna see what holds at number 4 here for them. They could take a tackle here, right? And I don't know if this article was or this rumor was true, but they may be looking to get out of Mekhi Becton. I don't see it. I mean, right now you're probably your best lineman. Well, maybe Laken Tomlinson, but Mekhi is up there, and him being a big guy, him injuring his knee is gonna affect him probably still for being the weight that he is. So you guys could take a tackle here, right? Replace George Fant. You could take a corner, obviously. You take wide receiver. Maybe not at 4. But it can happen. It can definitely happen. I do see defense here with the first pick. With your head coach now being a defensive-minded coach, coming from San Francisco, for some reason I can't remember his name. That's gonna bother me. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna figure it out. Robert Saleh, that's it. Robert Saleh. I do think he wants that shutdown corner, because right now you guys got good young corners, in Bryce Hall. You got Michael Carter, who did some nice things for you guys. Jordan Whitehead is a good safety. But I do think you don't have that true potential number 1 corner. And I think you get him here. I think Saleh would like the longer of the corners because of what he had with Richard Sherman. So I'm going to take Sauce Gardner here at 4. Can help you take care of one side of the field. Hopefully as a rookie. Obviously he's going to have his mental mistakes coming in. But I do think he's a potential shutdown corner. So, number 5 with the Giants. Okay, so obviously I would think the Giants would like to go offensive line here, right? Because then you have the Panthers coming up. They could use offensive linemen. It's probably their biggest need. They got Cameron Irving there, so I think they're going to want to choose their tackle. And right now, there's 3 of the top tackles are still on the board for you to choose from. But there have been links to Ikem Ekwonu. Makes sense. Absolutely. So does Evan Neal. And I think, I mean, you could make some cases for Cross. There could be the higher upside pass blocker of the 3. But I think you guys want to open some holes for Saquon as well. And Ikem Ekwonu will give you that in spades. It's a big, hulking dude, 6'4", 310. Obviously not as big as Evan Neal, 6'8", 337. That's a big boy. But I do think you guys go with Ikem Ekwonu here with number 5 and help to protect Daniel Jones for a couple more seasons. So we'll go with Ikem Ekwonu there. Now, this is where I see some things coming into play. Now, with the Carolina Panthers, they do not have another pick until 137. If I'm the GM of the Panthers, I think it's Scott Fitterer. If I'm the GM, I'm looking to trade down regardless, because you are not going to help your roster with one pick in the first 3 rounds. So I do think they're going to trade out of this pick. With whom? Could be up in the air. I can see the Seahawks jumping up for a tackle before maybe the Falcons could take a tackle, because Jake Matthews is getting older. I can see the Commanders moving up for maybe Kyle Hamilton, Jamison Williams, Derek Stingley, because I think Atlanta is a potential for anybody to go there. So I'm going to try to trade out of this pick. I am, because they need a lot more depth on their roster than the 6 picks that they have right now. So I'm gonna choose the Chargers here. The Chargers have been very persistent in getting defensive help, right? They went out and they got Mack. They traded for Mack. They signed J.C. Jackson. They signed Sebastian Day, Austin Johnson. Now, the Chargers can go Jordan Davis here at 6, but I don't think they'll be trading up to get him. If they're going to trade up, and them being in the division with Patrick Mahomes, Derek Carr, and Russell Wilson, you want as many defensive backs as you can get. So, right now, they can upgrade on Michael Davis, and they can move up here, which I'm going to have them do. They're going to have to give up quite a bit here to get him. I'm trying to make this as fair. I'm not going by the green here. The green means it's going to probably be accepted. I'm going to be fair. Maybe a round 3. 2 round 3s and 17. I think that helps, because you can look at the Panthers and say, well, if we could trade back and get a quarterback that we desire, because I don't, yeah, you can have quarterback go within the first 17 here, or between 6 and 17. maybe somebody will come off the board, maybe to the Seahawks, maybe to the Redskins, maybe to the Texans, Eagles, Saints. It's all possible, obviously. But they're risking it because they need more players for the roster. They need more talent for that roster. So we're going to go ahead and trade this pick. So now the Chargers have moved up. All right, and I think they're going Derek Stingley. They could go tackle here and complete their offensive line. But them doing all these defensive changes or these defensive acquisitions, I would think they would complete the haul. Because right now they have a solid offensive line. It's just that right tackle is going to be a problem. But they can address that later in the draft and for a say like if Kellen Dyche from Arizona drops to the third, fourth round, they can snag him in hopes that he could be better than Norton Storm or Storm Norton, excuse me. So I'm gonna go Derek Stingley here. That gives them 3 great corners. You know, they drafted Asante last year, who had his ups and downs, but has been pretty consistent for a rookie. A very aggressive corner, just like Derek Stingley is going to be. However, Derek Stingley has health problems with his foot. But if that all shakes out to be positive and good for them, then I'm sure they'll be happy to have Derek Stingley. And you hope to get the 2019 Stingley that was pretty much shutting down everybody. So now we're on to the Giants' second pick. This is where they could go. They could go Kyle Hamilton, but I know some Giants fans don't want to see that. Whatever happens with Kadarius Toney, whether he be traded on draft day or whatnot, but Jameson Williams is an idea here because you don't know about what's going to happen with Kadarius Toney. I can see a corner here in Trent McDuffie because of the James Bradbury trade talks that are still ongoing, I'm sure. However, you guys addressed the front side of the line on the offense, right? Now I think you guys go defensive line. And this is where Jermaine Johnson comes into play. As he's been falling these last couple weeks, his stock has now been pushing up the draft boards again, as it should be. He has some of the best hands in the draft, right? Can work an offensive lineman. He can bend with just as good as Thibodeau. So I can see Johnson here as their edge. They could also go Andrew Booth, but since DeAndre Baker didn't work out for you a couple years prior, I don't think you guys are gonna reach for another corner for a while. So I think this is where Jermaine Johnson's gonna come off the board. He's gonna give you the desperate pass rush that you guys need. I just want to bring up your depth chart here just in case. I know you got Leonard Williams, obviously. You got Dexter Lawrence, but you're looking to upgrade. You would have a great rotation there with Johnson. You can also upgrade your linebackers as well. Obviously, you got Azeez Ojulari that you drafted last year. So I'm going to take Jermaine Johnson here. Give you some more boost on the defensive line. Now, let me see if anybody wants to. No. Okay. So, I know the Falcons, their best wide receiver right now is Auden Tate. Then you have Olamide Zacchaeus, who's probably not even a number 3 in this league. I think Jameson Williams has got to be the pick here. Obviously, you could go corner to help A.J. Terrell, but you guys got a good, solid corner group right now with Richie Grant being your safety, your backup safety. You got Casey Hayward that you guys brought in, Isaiah Oliver. So you're not horrible there. But I do think this is where the first wide receiver comes off the board in Jameson Williams. Now, I'm not saying this draft is going to work out like this. There's still 2 of the top tackles on the board, which is probably going to be highly unlikely. But if the Seahawks are sitting here and there's a tackle, if there's Neal here still, I think they run up and select him. They won't take 2 minutes off the clock. I think they'll be ecstatic. Now, the Seahawks could trade down in hopes to get more. I know they got 2 second-round picks, so that's going to help them regardless. But trading down, they've always been known to trade down. But you can't pass up a tackle like Evan Neal, as big as he is, as quick as he is, how strong he is as well. I mean, it's a no-brainer. You got to go tackle here. You guys have been neglecting the need since maybe Walter Jones, since he retired. But yeah, you submit that pick without worry, knowing you're going to get a franchise left tackle. Now, the Jets are on the board. So this is what I like here. All right, now this will be a little bit fun, all right, for Jets fans. Now, it may be, I'm going to be honest here, it may be too high to trade for Debo with the 10th overall pick. But, hell, we're going to do it anyway because it'll be fun. So we're going to trade for Debo Samuel with the number 10 pick. So, we're going to do 10 overall and 111. And you're going to give me back 105. I think that's a fair trade around the board. 10th overall is a little bit too high for a guy like Debo Samuel because he's only done it for 1 year. Now, if he did it the prior year and he's been consistent with it, then I could see the 10th and maybe a 69. But I think a 4th rounder, a 1st and a 4th is good enough. Because I know San Francisco could use a 1st round pick to fill some holes as well. So we're going to do that. We're going to trade the 10th overall pick and 111th for Debo Samuel and their 105th. So we're going to offer the trade. We just got the Jets just traded for Debo to complete the wide receiving room. They no longer have to worry about that because they already got an underrated receiving room, but that's just going to put the receiving room over the top. So now the San Francisco 49ers are on the clock. So this would be kind of fun to kind of see what they're going to do. So they could go safety here. Let me just bring up their depth chart here to make sure. I think Tart is still there, if I remember. Jaquiski Tart. No, it's not. Okay. So Jimmy Ward is there, right? Okay, so Jimmy Ward. I knew you guys signed Travarius Ward from KC. Me being a Chiefs fan, he's underrated. I don't think he's a number 1 guy. I think he's a great number 2. Obviously gives you the size that you want. But I think you guys can upgrade. I can see a McDuffie here at 10. You could easily replace Debo with, say, Garrett Wilson or Treylon Burks. Because Treylon Burks can do the same thing Debo can. But is that the way you want to do it? Do you want to trade one person away just to fill that need again? I don't think you do. I think you kind of look towards your defense, make it a bit stronger. You could go guard, but you're not going to go guard in the top 10. But you guys will be hurting for a wide receiver. So we could go Garrett Wilson here. I think that'll fit the system. Or we could go Drake London, a bigger wide receiver. But I think they want that do-it-all type of guy. Maybe the 49ers trade back. They don't like what's here. Right? They could easily trade back and get Treylon Burks later. But I don't think they do that. So I'm going to have to select Trent McDuffie here. Go into the Bay Area. And helps to help with that defensive backfield. Washington is on the clock. The Commanders. I always screw that up. So, Washington is on the clock. They could go a number of different directions here. They could go wide receiver. Because they could trade Terry McLaurin. I don't see it. But they could. It's possible. They can go wide receiver, give more help for Wentz. Like, I can see Drake London going here. Drake London's a bigger wide receiver. Wentz tends to overthrow balls a lot. And him being 6'4", can try to jump up and grab some of those as mistake-free. But Kyle Hamilton is also a big need for you guys, safety. Commanders, where are you? Depth chart. Yeah, you could go safety because you haven't had a good safety since Sean Taylor, rest in peace. Probably one of the most exciting defensive players to ever come out of the draft. Probably would have been a Hall of Famer if that situation didn't happen. It's unfortunate. So you guys could go Kyle Hamilton here and give you that leader in the defensive backfield. You're not going linebacker because you got one last year in Jamin Davis. You could go. If you're going to trade Daron Payne, it's possible I could see Jordan Davis. That'd be pretty scary, actually. Is anybody willing to cut? No, nobody's willing. So, I think you want to try to give Wentz as many weapons as you can. Because right now, you really can't count on Curtis Samuel. You have a nice young wide receiver in Dyami Brown. I liked him coming out of North Carolina. I could see you doing as many weapons as possible for Wentz. But having a defensive coach, though, he could overrule and say, I want Kyle Hamilton. But I do think more weapons are in need. So I'm going to give you Drake London here at 11. In hopes to lessen the blow of Wentz's mistakes. Hopefully he can make some crazy catches this year for you guys. But I do think he's a good pickup. Kind of reminds me of Mike Evans. So if he translates to a Mike Evans, I think, that's a damn good haul. So, the Vikings are on the clock. What will the Vikings do? Man, they could do a lot of things too. They could go wide receiver as well. They could definitely go wide receiver. Because Adam Thielen isn't getting any younger. You have some, you got your Justin Jefferson, the vertical threat, right? Now you need a chain mover. Don't get me wrong, Justin Jefferson can do everything, right? But having another chain mover doesn't hurt. So, you could also take Kyle Hamilton as well. Pair him with Harrison Smith, or have him learn from one of the best. Excuse me. You could go Jordan Davis as well. Yeah, that'd be a nice sight. Pair him up with Phillips and Dalvin Tomlinson on the opposite side, and he's immediately going to eat up 2 blockers for you guys, giving Kendricks some room there to stop the run, some space for him and Hicks. I actually like that. Since Jordan Davis, but it's always hard with the Vikings. You don't know what they're. I mean, you don't know what any of these teams are gonna do, but what's their? I mean, you're not. You could use another safety, obviously. You could use a corner. But I think I'm going to go. Actually, what are their picks? Okay, so they can get a wide receiver around 2, maybe, or corner. So they're going to go best player available. And I think that's going to be, if it's on their draft board, I think Kyle Hamilton is going to be the choice. I think he gives you too much options to be on the field at the same time. He can be that box guy, can cover your tight ends, can play. I mean, I don't know if he's a single high safety. He does play faster on tape than what he ran, so I could see him being a single high safety. I don't know if they would want that. I think they just want a versatile guy there on the defense to help out where needed. So, Texans are on the clock. I gave him Trayvon Walker last time. They could go offensive line here. Could go. I mean, you're not horrible, but thinking of Laramie Tunsil, I don't think he's going to be there past this year. You got Max Sharping you drafted. Titus Howard, you don't want to kick him inside. You know what? I mean, I don't like this trade, but I do. Let's have the Texans trade back, because I know that there was rumors of them wanting to trade back. This cord is always getting in my way. So there's still 1 tackle left on the board, and Cross. So they're only trading down 4 picks. Maybe they get a 4th in return. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, we'll do that. So 1st and a 4th to move up. Or is that a 5th? I never know. And I think they're going to take Charles Cross, the last tackle on the board worthy of a top 15 selection. I think it kind of pisses off the Saints in hoping Cross can fall to them. You know, I thought maybe that the Saints would want to move up a little bit to get their tackle to replace Teron Armstead. But now they got the Panthers got Cross to replace Cameron Irving on their offensive line, because he is at best a 3rd stringer or a hype man. Chiefs fans would know what I'm talking about. Next, we got the Baltimore Ravens. And there's 2 options I can see here. I think it's going to be between the 2 Georgia defensive linemen. I know it's been a while for them that they had a great nose tackle. You know, they had Haloti Ngata a few years back until he got moved to the Lions. So Jordan Davis is a very high possibility here at 14. It is. But you can go Devontae Wyatt, who is more explosive. Going to give you more pass rush than Jordan Davis will. For the time being, that is. Because Jordan Davis could also beef up his pass rush. But seeing the Ravens, I think they can't pass on the Jordan Davis athleticism. Being that big and move that fast and be that strong. That is Ravens' mentality. They like the big boys. So I'm going Jordan Davis here at 14 to help plug the middle. Now we got the Eagles. I know they're interested in Jameson Williams, who went 8 to Atlanta. So it's possible they could move up for Jameson and have an all Alabama product between Smith, Hurts, and Williams. But that's not going to happen here. I think if... Let me pull up the depth chart real quick. So they need some youth on the defensive line. They definitely need some youth there. Because you got Cox and Graham. Obviously, you could use a linebacker and you could use a corner. But I think if Garrett Wilson is here, they get the most of their value here at 14 with Garrett Wilson to get another pass catcher for Hurts. So I can see that. Now you have the Saints on the clock. Let me grab their roster here. So I can see this as well, having Devontae Wyatt plugged in by David Onyemata. Help him learn from Cameron Jordan, one of the best to do it. You could go tackle here to replace Teron Armstead. Highly possible. You could go wide receiver. You could do that. Do wide receiver. You're okay with corners for the time being. You could go linebacker too, because Demario Davis isn't getting any younger. Could even go quarterback. I'm not crazy about them going quarterback in the middle of the rounds, and I'm sure Saints fans can agree with me. Since they already have a good defense, why not make that defense better? I'm going to make that defense better, and I'm going to go Devontae Wyatt. Plug him in right in the starting lineup, take Tuttle out of there, put in Wyatt. And then you have a fantastic defensive front. I think that's the cherry on top. Who did you guys lose in free agency? Nobody terrible besides Armstead. Yeah, I like that pick. Devontae Wyatt there gives you the upside in that position. And it's only going to help your run defense. You already got a good pass defense. And so it's just going to help you guys. I mean, you guys could have went wide receiver here, but you still have another pick in 19. So you guys could do a lot. If Eagles are here and even Devin Lloyd's still here, I think it's an oh no. Darn it. I'm thinking it was the Eagles at 17. What am I doing? Tim, come on, man. However, I can also see this happening. Unfortunately, for the Texans, it can happen this way. Them trading back for Devin Lloyd. Maybe not trading back for Devin Lloyd, but I mean, I would have liked to send a wide receiver for the Texans at that spot. That's my bad. It's my fault. I saw the Eagles and thinking it was the Eagles. However, I can see Devin Lloyd going here to Texans as well. Maybe not as much as a wide receiver or an offensive lineman, but we're here. But it gives you value at the position as well when they selected Devin Lloyd, or I selected Devin Lloyd here. And they could use a leader on that defense. They lost Justin Reid to the Chiefs, and Justin Reid was the leader on that defense. So now the Eagles are pissed at me because I gave the Texans Lloyd. Sorry, Eagles fans. I'm so sorry. I did not mean it. But it could be a win-win here for the Eagles because they need a corner horribly. And Booth is sitting here. You could even go center. I know you guys drafted Lander Dickerson in the first round last year. So it could be the second round. I think it was the second round. Yeah, second round last year. But Dickerson's probably your future center. Because Kelsey's probably playing well. This is probably his last year. So you guys could take Linderbaum here, but I don't see it. You could go Dean. He's on the smaller side. 5'11". He's 230. So, but he's a fast linebacker, which you guys could use. Absolutely, you guys could use. But I'm going corner here for you guys because that's your worst need on the defense, I believe. Got Darius Slay. Avonte Maddox is a decent corner, but he's not the shutdown corner that you guys covet. So I'm going to give you Andrew Booth here. Could even go with Kaiir Elam. Actually, you know what? I may do Kaiir Elam. Give you that bigger, more physical corner. I'm with Kaiir Elam. Because some teams believe he could go higher than what's projected. Because of his size. Because of his speed. What's a 4.39, I believe. If I read that right. You guys could go Karlaftis too, but I don't see that. I think he falls out of the round completely, first round completely. He's just not a first round graded prospect from watching his highlights. So I do think he does fall out of the first round. So here we got the Saints. This is where I could see who's on the board here. Yeah, I could see Bernard Ryman coming off here to replace Teron Armstead. Maybe even Tyler Smith. Maybe Trevor Penning, but Trevor Penning does not do well with speed rushers. Obviously, he could fix that with coaching, but they could go quarterback here, but I think no, they might have to because they don't have a first round to spend next year. And if you want one of the top quarterbacks next year, you're gonna have to tank the season. And I don't think they have the roster to tank. You could go wide receiver to help Jameis. Okay, so we'll see. Okay, well, we're going to go wide receiver here. We're going to go Olave to the Saints because they could use some help from Michael Thomas. I don't know if Michael Thomas is even going to play next year, this year. Who knows what's going on with him, man. I think this is where the first quarterback comes off the board. Right now, you're hoping Mitch Trubisky can be that stopgap guy for you guys and help have the quarterback sit for a year. But I think this is where Malik Willis comes off the board here. Gives you that quarterback option, threat. Multi-talented. Quick as hell. probably the highest upside quarterback in the draft. You guys could go wide receiver as well to replace Juju Smith-Schuster, but I think quarterback is the answer for you guys. But I'm kind of surprised it. I think this is what's going to happen here. I'm going to see if the Chiefs want to trade up here. Yeah, they're not interested in trading. I was kind of hoping I can... We could probably get away with 94 for 21. Because I know the Patriots like their top 100 players. They like to select within that top 100. So I could see that. So I'm going to force this trade because I do think the Chiefs move up somewhere in this draft in the first round. So I'm going to force this trade because I think maybe we'll give them a 7th round too. Kind of make it. So we're going to force this trade. Now, who are we selecting? They could go wide receiver here. They could. I know they're big on Pickens. They've done a lot of homework on Pickens. Same with the Packers. Right? That's why I jumped in front of the Packers. Because I think that's who the Packers covet most. I do. But there's no edges to take right now at 21. If Jermaine Johnson was here, then yes, absolutely, I am 100% trading up for Jermaine Johnson if he lasts till 21. But I don't think he gets there. I think he goes maybe 15. I think that ends his fall. I think it's going to be 15, at worst 18, with the Eagles' second pick. So I'm going to have the Chiefs trade up for a wide receiver they covet in George Pickens. Because I think Green Bay Packers, if we don't pick him, Green Bay is going to pick him. And I know some Packers fans that love George Pickens just as much as us Chiefs fans do. I think George Pickens can be your X receiver in a few years. Learn from Juju, learn from Kelsey even. He has great body control. He has great hands. He might have some mental lapses at times, but the guy can make fantastic grabs. We've seen it. If he didn't tear his ACL in the bowl game, he's probably a top 10 selection. Him and Jameson, obviously Jameson got to speed over George Pickens, but George Pickens' speed is nothing to be sneezed at. He could run a 4.4, 4.3 as well. So that's why I took George Pickens, because of his upside, knowing he can become a number 1 in this league. Now, Green Bay is on the clock. Green Bay doesn't have a tremendous amount of holes here. But hey, maybe they draft another quarterback this year, right? You got Desmond Ridder here for you. You got Pickett. Nah, I'm just kidding. They won't do that. They learned their lesson the last time with taking Jordan Love. Almost lost Rodgers. Actually, Rodgers almost lost Rodgers. But it is what it is now. However, I see Bernhard Raimann is still on the board. You can kick Jenkins inside and have Raimann play right tackle. That's probably your best bet. That's probably the best decision, right? Because I know Jenkins was an all-pro guard as well. And have Raimann learn right beside him. You could go Karlaftis. Help with that, because Jordan Reed isn't going to give you nothing. At least he didn't with us. But I'm not crazy about Karlaftis in that scheme. They like their athletic rushers. You could go linebacker here. But I think you could take Quay Walker here at 28 if he's going to be there. You even could go safety here, replace Darnell Savage, or just have that third safety type of guy that can kind of do everything. But let me take a look at wide receiver here. Come on. Treylon Burks could be an option here. Right? Has that similar type of build, maybe a bit thicker. He's like an A.J. Brown type. Same build as A.J. Brown. But I think he gives you a multi-tool wide receiver. Can kind of do the bubble screens, the sweeps. Can do all that. And can take it the distance. So I'm going to go Burks here. You could easily go Sky Moore, but you have that. You have a couple of slot guys there already with Rodgers and Cobb. So I don't think you guys take Sky Moore. I think you want the bigger body type of wide receiver. You can even take Christian Watson, but I do think he's in the second round. So we'll go Burks here. Give you that that threat that you had with Adams. Maybe not. Burks isn't the overall talented wide receiver you're looking for to be that first round pick because he's still raw. Still doesn't know how to run crisp routes like Devontae did. But I can see Burks trying to fill the shoes of Adams. Even if it's just a third of his shoes, I think it's still a good selection. So, the Cardinals are on the clock, right? They could take guard, because they could damn well use guards. They could definitely use a guard. Replace Will Hernandez. Justin Pugh, even. However, losing Chandler Jones, man, that's going to hurt. You need to have some production there. You do. You do need some production there. You only got JJ. You're good with corners for the time being. You can get some depth there. You can maybe use a linebacker. I know you drafted Zaven Collins last year. And you drafted Isaiah Simmons too. Forgot about that. But you can probably replace Marcus Golden. But we're going to go Arnold Ebiketie here. Well, I don't think that's... Yeah, I'm not touching... I think he falls completely out of the first round. Karlaftis. Could go Travis Jones even... He's going to go in the first round. I think Travis Jones is going to go in the first round. Don't know to who, but whoever gets him is going to have a hell of a player. Maybe you do protect... Because Rodney Hudson isn't getting any younger either. No, I can't take guard. Not right now when you guys are in desperate need of edge help. So I'm going Arnold Ebiketie here. Kind of gives you that speed guy, you know. Opposite JJ. Maybe replace Devon Kennard there as outside linebacker. See if you can learn that role. Because you guys need to replace Chandler Jones. Because you don't have a person that can even attempt to fill Jones' shoes. So Dallas is next. I'm picking Linderbaum right here. It just makes too much sense. It does. You lost Travis Frederick a couple years ago to retirement, and you fill him in another All-Pro, because that's what I think he's gonna be. He's gonna be an All-Pro. Linderbaum may be on the lighter side of where you would want your center. I know he was 290 at his pro day or his other combine, but either way, you want to try to get him over that 300-pound mark, which is absolutely possible because I think he played that during college. So I choose Linderbaum here, complete that offensive line. You could probably use a guard. You could go for Zion Johnson or Kenyon Green here as well. But I think Linderbaum gives you the more consistent prospect. Bills are on the clock. Automatically, I think. I would like to see the Chiefs move up again, but they're not trading with Buffalo because Buffalo's not going to trade with them again. Even though both teams worked out the trade in 2017 for Mahomes, it worked out for the Bills the following year with Josh Allen. And they got a good linebacker out of it as well. And a top 10 corner. So they're not hating on us no more for it because they got their own guy. But I can see the Chiefs moving up here as well. But we're not going to do that. So, with the Bills on the clock, I think they got to be looking corner, man. They need somebody after what we did to them last year. Where are you? There you are. Yeah, I think because you guys did draft a couple defensive ends last year, right? With Rosal and Boogie Basham. And you got Von Miller, obviously. But I think you guys got to go corner, man. It's still too early for running back. Running back is a luxury pick, kind of like what we did when we won the Super Bowl in 2019 or 2020. I guess you can probably happen in 2020, but we picked Clyde Edwards-Helaire, thinking it was going to put us over the top again. We go right back. We did, but we lost because we could have used more defensive help or offensive line help at the time. So I do think you guys go corner here, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a different corner. Somebody that's going to do everything. Can play the single high safety for you if Micah or Poyer gets injured. Can kind of do it all. Could be a slot guy. Could be outside. Like I said, safety. I can see that happens. I'm going to go Daxton Hill here from Michigan. Give you guys an opposite tandem of Tre'Davious. Give him a running mate that he can be confident in. So, Texans are here. Oh, they don't have a second round pick either. So, I think, let me just check here. They're a sleeper team for a quarterback. They are. Because after what Ryan Tannehill showed in that playoff game, I mean, you sack Burrow 9 times, and he turns it over 3. And you expect to blow the roof off the place. If that happened, if you sack a quarterback 9 times, you're expecting to blow them out. That didn't happen, unfortunately. I know you drafted Dillon Radunz. However, yeah, I don't think you go tackle. You can. Maybe kick Radunz inside. You could go somebody opposite Jeffrey Simmons, too. Make that defensive line even better. You're not going to go corner. Because you got a good couple young corners there. I think you go guard. Since that's... You can go guard. You can go wide receiver. Hopefully. I'm doing this thinking A.J. Brown is going to be there this year. Right? You could easily go Sky Moore here. Excuse me. Allergies. Oh, I actually like Sky Moore in this offense. That would actually be enticing. Do I want to do that? You know what? We're going to give Tannehill one more year, right? Give him another weapon opposite Robert Woods. Put Sky Moore in the slot. Put Sky Moore in the slot. See what he can do for you. I know you got Robert Woods, who's one of the better slots in the league, but I think he's your Y. Actually, let me just check something. Okay. The Z receiver. Sorry, I was mistaken. He could be your Z receiver. Robert Woods would be your Z receiver. Still kind of learning everything here. A.J. Brown obviously is your X. So I think that would work for you guys because you still got Derrick Henry, probably the best running back in the league. I think that's exciting to have another wide receiver come in for your offense. Take some more load off of Ryan Tannehill. Somebody who can run the routes and get open for your quarterback on short downs. So I think since they lost Kappa, right, and Jensen, was it Jensen that came back? Yeah, Ryan Jensen came back. Yes. I forgot who retired. Who retired for them? But anyway, they lost Kappa to the Bengals, so they could replace the left guard there. They could take a wide receiver, replace Russell Gage. I know they just signed Russell Gage, but you can always upgrade him. You could go corner. You can replace JPP. So I can see you guys. You know what? I'm going Travis Jones. I like that. I do like that. Replace what you lost in JPP. He's a bigger guy, bigger dude. Pair him up with Vita Vea. Oh boy, you got yourself a nice tandem there. I think Bernard Raymond goes to the Packers. I do. I can see Tyler Smith also being the pick here. Even Trevor Penning if you want to reach a little bit. But we're going to go Bernard Raymond in hopes you can get some protection for Aaron Rodgers there. So this is an interesting pick. I had the Chiefs trade up with the Patriots to select George Pickens. The Patriots could use a body that they lost in J.C. Jackson. So I could see Andrew Booth here. I can also see Nakobe Dean. I can also see Karlaftis. There's so many things that they could do here. You just never know about the Patriots. They could even select David Ojabo here and kind of stash him away, but I think they need players now rather than later because now they're looking in front of them to the Bills, right? They're trying to kind of get back up to where they usually were. But right now the Bills are the superior team. They could probably go safety too because McCourty is not getting any younger. But thinking of Belichick, right? I think they need a linebacker. They're okay with corners. They can use one later. They don't need to pick one. Well, I mean, they could. Well, they lost J.C. Jackson, so they could use one now. But I think their depth chart is okay for the time being. They signed Malcolm Butler. They got Jalen Mills and Jonathan Jones. so they're okay. But maybe you look to the second round to draft a corner, like a Zion McCollum or Martin Emerson, or maybe even a Kobe Bryant. But I want to say that Belichick wants his linebacker that he can trust. Because you had Brandon Merriweather, you had all these. No, not Merriweather. What was his name? Oh, now it's gonna bother me too. Because Brandon Merriweather was a safety. Dun, 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 dun. All right. All right. So, who was it? Dante Hightower. That's what it was. Dante Hightower. Yeah, you've always had a great linebacker. You had Jamie Collins, Gerard Mayo being one of the better linebackers you've had. And obviously the guys from the early 2000s. So I do think you guys take a linebacker here. But it's not going to be Dean. No, sorry, Bob. It ain't going to be Dean. Because even though he's a fast linebacker, I think you guys want the bigger guy. Right? I'm going Quay Walker here. Going Quay Walker here. So, Chiefs are on the clock at 30. I might want to trade back with the Lions, maybe pick up an extra 5th. Because I think they're going to be targeting a corner here. Maybe go 97. Give a 3rd. Yeah, we'll do that. I'll be happy with that. So, now, the Lions are on the clock now after the trade with the Chiefs. All right. They could go quarterback here, right? Kind of blow everybody's minds. Take Desmond Ridder. But if they're jumping the Bengals, right? They're jumping the Bengals. In this mock draft anyway, they're jumping the Bengals. Then that means that tells me they're worried about corner, right? Because the Bengals could use a corner, replace Eli Apple. So, with that being said, since Jeff Okudah hasn't been living up to the hype, I know he's been injured, kind of been inconsistent. You could use another corner. So I'm going to take Andrew Booth Jr. at this selection. That gives you Kayvon Thibodeau and Andrew Booth Jr. in the first round to kind of fix that defense. Now you have some ammo to... Let's take the Lions pick. Now you got some ammo to do some work on the offense side of the ball. Maybe trade back from 34. Maybe get an extra 3rd or 4th. But Bengals are here. I can see them going offensive line here to complete the haul of the offensive line. Because I know they picked up, obviously they picked up Lyle Collins. They signed him. And they signed Kappa to help with the rebuild. Kind of like what the Chiefs did in 1 year, right? I mean, they didn't think Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey were going to be those guys right away. We just got lucky and they were those guys right away. So I think this could be the same thing the Chiefs did the prior year. So I think you guys are going to select Zion Johnson to complete the offensive line haul that you guys did in one season. Help protect Burrow, one of the better quarterbacks in this league. I'm thinking top 5, obviously. I think if you give him more time in the Super Bowl, you guys might win. You guys obviously could go corner here and help with Eli, kick Eli out to maybe the third, fourth corner. I don't think he's a starting corner, but he made some plays. He also lost you the Super Bowl too, so, I mean, what do I know? Now, for the last pick of the first round, with the trade back the Chiefs did. So the Chiefs picked George Pickens. They moved up a little bit in front of Green Bay because we knew Green Bay was kind of in love with Pickens, as so are we. So then we moved back with the Lions because I think the Lions were kind of scared of the Bengals picking a corner. They wanted the next best corner, which was Booth. Now, for the Chiefs, we could use edge horribly. Right? Karlaftis is here. We're not fans of Karlaftis in Kansas, or maybe some of us are, but I know there's a lot of draft evaluators, freelance draft evaluators that do not like Karlaftis. I watched some highlights of him, and I'm not thrilled of what he can do. He's a higher floor guy, but I just don't see the upside in drafting him in the first round. The high floor guy meaning he could play the run, he can give you solid snaps, but he's not going to wow you with any type of production. He's not going to give you that 10 sack type season. Maybe I can see his ceiling being a little bit like Frank Clark's, like a 6 to 8 sack guy. But I think with the pick of George Pickens, I would have rather taken Jermaine Johnson. Trust me, Chiefs Kingdom. If I'm going to move up to 21 in real draft time, Jermaine Johnson better be there. Because I'm picking him 10 times out of 10. So we could go edge here, but if we go edge, I mean, we could go Boye Mafe, but my heart set on Ojabo. We could do both. We could take Boye Mafe at 32 and then trade back up in the second round and take Ojabo. But I know there have been rumors stating Kyler Gordon is also on the move up draft boards, that is. And I can see us liking him. Can play both. That's what was coming. That was the thing coming out. He can play both outside and inside. So I'm going to have us go with Kyler Gordon here at 32 to fill in the Charvarius Ward departure. That gives us Snead, Gordon on the outside. And we even got Rashad Fenton. We're going to have Rashad Fenton in the slot, but he's probably best on the outside as well. So maybe we could kick in Kyle Gordon inside. So this is the first round. So review. We have Aiden going 1 because he is the safest pick. Trayvon, I think, being a Jags, if this was the Lions at 1, maybe go Trayvon, but the Jags have been, the Jags have been terrible for a while. Same with the Lions. But I think the Jags need to go with the safer pick. Take the safer pick. Be happy that you got a good player, rather than spending the first overall pick on somebody that might not work out in the future. You understand what I'm saying? It's because even though Trayvon has the best physical traits of all the edges in his draft, he also has probably the least production. So that's why I went with Aiden Hutchinson at 1. Same kind of goes for Kayvon Thibodeau at 2. Had a great career at Oregon, right? Kind of rumors coming out saying that he doesn't love the game of football. but I call BS on that. I think if this is last year's draft, Kayvon goes 1. Obviously with the Texans, I went Trayvon Walker. Lovie Smith being there, defensive-minded head coach, wants somebody that he can tutor. That big guy that kind of do everything, can drop back if need be as a linebacker, as an off-the-ball linebacker, can rush the passer, can run down running backs, cover tight ends, stuff like that. A do-it-all type of guy, so to speak. Next, I got Ahmad Gardner coming off the board, or Sauce, as everybody should say. Going to the Jets. Derek Stingley has been getting some consideration at 4 as well, even at 2. Ahmad gives you the non-injury worries that Stingley has, but I think Stingley has the better upside than Gardner. But I still think they're both fantastic corners. So either whoever you pick, you're still going to get a number 1 corner. Solid corner. 5 of Ekwonu here because you got to start protecting Daniel Jones. And maybe open some holes for Saquon at the same time. He's probably your best running blocking tackle in the draft. So he's been getting consideration as the top tackle off the board. I did so here. Derek Stingley at 6 to the Chargers. I had the Chargers move up for Derek Stingley. Had them move up 11 picks. Gave up a first and 2/3 to get him. This puts a number 2 and keeps Asante at slot. I think that's the best situation you can put on the field. If you're getting 2019 Stingley, you're getting another J.C. Jackson, right? So, and you're in a division where you have all pro quarterbacks. I know Carr is not. He had a good season in 2016, but he's consistent. Carr is consistent. But with Wilson in the division now, you got Mahomes. It's that they need to start shutting down the wide receivers, right? So I went that route. Jermaine Johnson has been falling down draft boards recently, and is just now moving up just in time for the NFL draft tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern. So Jermaine Johnson could go even at 4. There could be 4 edges straight consecutively. I can see that 100%. But with Jermaine Johnson, because they need to affect the passer, they got some guys on the defensive line, Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence. But I think having a rotational guy as well to help out. Maybe you stand him up with Azeez and have him be an off-the-ball linebacker, rush in certain downs. Obviously, you want him rushing. He has some of the best bend in the draft. He has fantastic hands. Can just beat offensive linemen just with his hands. At 8 here, I went Williams because their best wide receiver is Auden Tate and Zacchaeus. So I think Mariota needs a buddy he can throw to that he can count on. So I went Williams there. Evan Neal. I think if Evan Neal is here at 9 still, I think Seattle doesn't even think about it. They just write the name down and send it up. McDuffie obviously going to San Francisco. So I traded Deebo Samuel to the Jets for number 10 and a 3rd round pick. It could be a 4th round pick too. I forgot what it was, but you could probably rewind the other video to go back and see. But I wanted to go wide receiver here. I could have gone Garrett Wilson, but thinking of what Deebo brought to the offense, I thought Burks was probably the better choice to fit that, but I just thought it was too high for Burks. So I thought maybe just spend the 10th pick on a corner to give you that defensive backfield help that you guys so desperately need. Even though you guys did sign Travarius Ward being a Chiefs fan, I can tell you, he'll have his good moments. He'll also have his bad moments. But it gives you McDuffie for another security blanket there in that defense. 11, I went with Drake London. He gives you that mentality for Wentz. As if I'm going to overthrow a ball, he's probably the best guy that can go get those balls. So he's kind of like a security blanket for Wentz. He has a hell of a lot more room to make mistakes. With London there, that minimizes it. So that's why I took Drake London there. Kyle Hamilton, I thought it was too good of a pick to pass up with him and Harrison Smith on the field at the same time. I think London, from one of the better safeties in this league, is only going to help him in the future. And, he could be... I could see him being the best prospect in this draft 5 years from now. If he could put it all together. I know his 40-yard time wasn't crazy. He was a 4.7 at his pro day, right? But sometimes you kind of just got to push that aside and look at the tape. Their speed on tape. If it looks like it doesn't translate to tape, then I still consider him a top 10 pick. He could do everything for you. 13, I went Charles Cross. So I moved back originally. What was he? I gotta make sure. I moved back with the Chargers originally. Then I moved up with the Texans to see that Charles Cross is the next best tackle to come off the board, considered in the top 15. So I had them move up for Charles Cross so they can start protecting their quarterback. And Sam Darnold, a top 5 quarterback in the league. Yes. No, I'm kidding. But then we have Jordan Davis, an absolute physical freak. 340, runs 4.8, which is kind of unrealistic. Right? It just doesn't make sense. And him being that strong, I mean, you have another, maybe Nada on your hands here. I know Nada wasn't the big pass rusher, and I don't think Davis is going to be that either. He can be, but that just wasn't what he was asked to do at Georgia. He was asked to take bodies on. That's what he did well. So there are 3 fantastic linebackers can make plays. And Dean, Tyndall, and Walker. So I do think Jordan Davis gives you the best run-stuffing defensive tackle in this league, in the draft. And it kind of fits well within the Ravens system. Next is the Eagles. I had them taking Wilson because you can't place it all on Devontae. Devontae does have a thin frame. Setting a 17-game schedule is hard enough for all of these NFL players. But having another running mate to kind of take the load off of Devontae is always going to help. So they get this, I think, the second best wide receiver in this draft, outside of Jameson, obviously, to pair with Devontae. Next, I took Devontae Wyatt to the Saints. I was kind of uncertain of whether I wanted to go quarterback with them here in the first round. I like the fit of Wyatt on the defensive line with Cameron Jordan, Davenport, Onyemata. You put him in there and you got a top 5 defensive line. You could have went linebacker here as well. I know DeMar Davis isn't getting any younger, so you could use some youth there. But I went there because he has the more explosion, I believe, of the defensive ends left in this defensive line left in this draft, coming from the defensive tackle position. So that's why I went there. 17, I actually made a mistake here at 17. Obviously, I was thinking of the Eagles here, and I went Devin Lloyd immediately thinking that was the Eagles. However, it kind of worked out because the Texans need every position. They need everybody. They could use help all around. So I went with Devin Lloyd, the quarterback of their defense for the future, to help Lovie Smith out. Next is Kaiir Elam to the Eagles. I did Kaiir Elam because he's the taller of the corners, one of the taller corners in the draft. Physical. I know Eagles like their physical corners. And he has some speed to go along with it. For the Saints, we at 19, we took Chris Olave because, let's be honest, you guys need wide receiver help. Any way you look at it. 20, we took the first quarterback, Malik Willis. I think you kind of have to take a shot in hopes that he pans out. Let him sit a year. Have Trubisky hopefully be somewhat average to kind of get you to the playoffs. Lose in the first, second round, and you can start Malik next year. Gives you that that option type of quarterback because you drafted Najee Harris last year, so I think it's going to pair well. I moved up for George Pickens for me being a Chiefs fan. I think they are going to move up in this draft. Maybe not 21, could be a lot earlier, say 13 or maybe even 11. Hopefully not 6. I hope we don't move up to 6. Please don't move to 6. Don't move up to 6, Chiefs fans. Chiefs, please don't move up to 6. So I took George Pickens because I believe if he did not injure his ACL last year, he is a top 3 wide receiver in this draft. And I moved up for him because the Packers are the next pick. And we're thinking that Packers are going to take him because they've done just amount of homework on him than we have. We've had top 30 visit with him. They had a top 30 visit with him. They had other interviews with him, so did we. We also had other interviews with Drake London as well. But I don't think, it's possible Drake London could fall down to here, but I think Pickens fits the scheme better and has more upside, I think. Traylon Burks going to Green Bay at 22 gives you more than what maybe Adams gave you in a sense of sweeps, bubble screens. Obviously, he's not as polished and not as great as a runner as Adams was. Don't get me wrong. Adams is a top wide receiver in this league. Number 1 is my guess. You could argue with Tyreek Hill. I'm a Chiefs fan, so kind of a homer there. But I like what Burks can give you in the sense of kind of doing it all, moving around the field. I think that helps Aaron Rodgers out, helps the running backs out, offensive line. It just helps you guys. Obviously, he's not better than what Adams will be. It's hard to replace a talent like Adams. But I think if he gives you the third of the production of Adams, I think you're happy with it. Cardinals took Ebiketie. They could use more pass rush help. I was thinking of Travis Jones in that spot too, but I think they would want a more athletic personality on the field. And Ebiketie. Dallas, I chose Linderbaum. It doesn't make too much sense to complete that offensive line, at least the center position. I know Frederick retired a couple of years ago. You place him in there, you probably got an all-pro center. Daxton Hill going to the Buffalo Bills because Tre'Davious White cannot do it himself. Sky Moore going to the Titans. It's a sneaky spot for a quarterback to go as well. It gives you that slot guy that you so desperately need. You have. I know you traded for Robert Woods, but he's also coming off an ACL tear. All right, so Bucks. I picked Travis Jones here because you lost JPP. I think he gives you more power within the middle with Vita Vea. That's a scary duo. with Vita and Travis Jones in the middle, I think you guys got one hell of a defensive line again. Bernhard Raimann falling down to the Green Bay Packers. I think if Raimann lasts to 28, I think Green Bay snatches him up. I could also see Green Bay moving up again in this draft to select a person they would like. Maybe a Chris Olave or a Devin Lloyd, per se. But Raimann gives you a consistent tackle. I like Raimann better than Penning, because Penning has trouble handling the speed rushers, as you saw in the combine. The Senior Bowl. Quay Walker going 29 here. I think it makes sense. Big physical linebacker. The Patriots always have big physical linebackers. With Hightower and Mayo. I don't think they're as big as Quay was, because Quay is 6'4", so he's a big dude. Hits like a train. He could be a quarterback of your defense, because I know Belichick still wants that linebacker that could call his defense. I had the Lions moving up with Kansas City to the 30th pick, because I think they were worried about the Bengals taking a corner. So they moved up 2 spots to select Andrew Booth to play opposite of Okudah, who hasn't been as consistent as you would like. I know he's been injured, but I think they want somebody on the opposite side to help out. And with the loss of Darius Slay last year, it was a gaping hole over there. Next is Zion Johnson to complete the Bengals' offensive line woes. They had a tremendous offseason, offensive line-wise. I think now they're going to be able to protect Joe Burrow in hopes to bring a championship to Cincinnati. At 32, I had Chase moved back with the Lions, obviously, and we took Kyler Gordon. Kyler Gordon has been secretly getting some love in the first round. I think he fits what we want to do with moving our corners inside and out. I think he fits our defense. He's 6 foot, good size for a corner. Usually Spags likes his corners to be 6'1" and taller, 6'2", with longer arms. But I do see Kyler Gordon fitting in our system, which should be fun. Hopefully, obviously Chiefs fans, I know I wanted Jermaine Johnson. I try to make it work, but since Jermaine has been getting buzz again early in the first round, I think it's going to be out of our price range. Unless he falls to, say, 11 or 12, then I think we could make a move. But at this moment, we did fill needs, and we filled needs with the best value on the board. So, with that being said, that is complete with the first round. And I'm so excited to see what happens tomorrow night. It should be fun. I'm excited. Going to go over to my parents' house, watch with my father. My father's also a big Chiefs fan. But I hope you all have a lovely night and enjoy the draft tomorrow night. I may be live probably Friday night to get some reactions on the second and third rounds. But thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I appreciate y'all. And y'all have a good night.